Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Thursday, October 9th, 2025, and today's topic, I'm going to call it keeping your old sketches. But before we begin, welcome back if you're returning and welcome if you're new to the channel. I sketch and post every day and I use a timer to stay focused and to build a habit. I'll start a 10-minute timer. I'm going to use this page. I want to fill up this sketchbook, or it's a sketch page, it's not a book. I keep these in binders. I did this last month on the 29th. The video is called One Line Sketching from Imagination. So it's just kind of like real quick. I kind of see this right here. Could be. So that's one thing you can do is just, or that I like to do is go back and do this kind of thing. But yeah, today's topic is actually something else. I wanted to talk about, so this is going to go into a category or a playlist that I call Artist Life, but it's more about, so Artist Life is kind of about like the art journey, and this sketchbook, I call it my recovery sketchbook. But basically, it was a way for me to get out of a creative block or like an artistic block. So, for example, right here, I was doing like daily sketches like I'm doing now. But it kind of started around here. But like this one says 6/21/20. This one says 6/22/20. It was just really tough to sit down and like sketch, and so I wanted to share that because here you'll notice that I really didn't like the way the cross-hatching of the face came out, and so I'm calling this video Keeping Your Old Sketches because one, I have a video called The Power of Keeping Sketchbooks. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have this. Now I won't flip through all of this. I flipped through it a little bit, but there's a lot of like emotional stuff that went into it. That's why I call it like the recovery sketchbook. And yeah, I've talked about it some, and that's like the power of art and the power of sketchbooks and stuff. Cause I mean, and it's kind of like journaling. I also journal. So I won't get into all of that, but a few things I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to keep this like off to the side, but I'll put it on the screen, and I'm just going to like add it to like this page right here. But before I do that, like a few things. One is, so it's been like 5 years, so I don't hate it as much. So I wrote this, which pretty much meant like I hated it, but it's really not that bad. Like I'm more objective about it. So that's like one reason to keep your sketchbooks. Yeah, there's stuff that I would do differently, and that's what I'm going to do here. Because I was getting into like just drawing straight like from ink. I'd been doing it for a while. It is challenging, and that's why I have a lot of understanding for people that want to just draw in general, but like especially like with like pen. But yeah, I'll put this on the screen and I'll have it off to the side here. So a few things. Yeah, I'll put it up there somewhere, and I'm just gonna fit it kind of like right here. So a couple of things. I've got these Tombow pens. There's like a soft and then like the hard tip, but they're like brush, so you can get different line weights or widths. So I'm gonna go with that one, the hard tip. So I'm going to copy, so I'll put it up here, and there's just like different ways of approaching it. You can be more loose, so I'm just going to be kind of loose about it, and so I'm just going to draw and plus I mainly wanted to play around with this pen. So I'm going to be loose and just see what happens. So it looks like I can go like this. So if I'm redrawing, since like there's different approaches, you could try to copy it more exactly. You could even trace over that if you really wanted to. I'm actually going to be kind of loose and then like get like the feel of it, and then maybe turn it into a character. And that's the thing too, like sometimes a character will emerge. And yeah, it's not nearly as bad as I thought. It's being kind of critical, and that's sort of why that's like the whole point of that sketchbook, was to kind of get through that. So I'll see how far I can get today. But I kind of wanted to do like the cross hatching. That's like why I wanted to kind of go over. So one thing that helps is to keep it simple, which I may have done already like on that one, but then when I went to like cross hatch it, maybe I made it, I messed up. It's not, again, it's not even like that bad. There's actually ways of fixing that, but I just don't like to mess with old sketches because it teaches you stuff by looking at it. That was like a moment. Like that was a, like that's how I was drawing stuff. Like it's useful. So yeah, I'm doing this in a way where I'm not copying it, but I want it to look kind of like the same characters. So I'm noticing like the cheekbones, like the jawline, the neck, and then the nose. Yeah, like one thing about that old sketch is that it's like the lighting got a little weird. It's not too bad, but again, like it could be fixed. Like everything could be fixed. And on top of that, you can come back to it and it'll look different. But yeah, I'm keeping it loose just because that's what these are good for. They're more gestural, these brush tips. Something kind of like that. Yeah, I'm kind of turning into a potential character. I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on. Well, it was 2020, so if you know, you know. I think we all know. There's a lot of stuff happening. And I had wanted to just get back into art and basically do what I'm doing now. It's just that there's just a lot of stuckness. There's about a minute left. I'm only going to get as far as this. Like one thing is also like back then, like that's why I was doing those 1 minute sketches and stuff, because there was this feeling of needing to rush and like get it done, and like it had to be like a certain way, or like I had to, yeah, there was a lot of pressure. So I'm basically copying it, but I mean, I think it's drawn better. Like there's that, but yeah, it's just not as bad as I thought it was. That's really what I wanted to do. As far as like I can get the cross hatching like a little bit started. I mean, there's just different ways. You could stick with like this. That's probably the simpler way. It's just to kind of stick with the same pen. I mean, I can even start to shade it a little bit. So I'm going to go off of, again, it'll be up here. I'm like looking off to the side here. I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, the way that I would fix that old one is basically what happened was the skin tone change, which isn't bad. I mean, it could have like darker skin tone. It's tricky, especially with this. I think that's really what was happening. I was sort of not sure which way I wanted to go. So if I wanted to do a darker skin tone, I might, and this is kind of, might not be a bad kind of thing. I'll just get it started today. Is I wouldn't necessarily use this one, and I think that was the issue. I was using like the same kind of pen and like the approach and stuff. So for example, I might go in with something like finer point, and let's just see like what that looks like. And this is where in the past like in that sketchbook, I would have gotten kind of frustrated. So the first thing is I'm going to map out like where I think like the light area would be. So for example, like right here, looks like you can get some highlight going. I'm gonna put this, and I'm being pretty light about it, like kind of like right here, and then maybe looks like I wanted to have a highlight like maybe like on the nose. So like that's basically like the main thing. And then after that, you just kind of have to make like certain decisions, and that was really like like what tripped me up was you can't have like a bunch of different cross hatching techniques like on the face. It's gonna start to look like texture. And so for example, like if I decide that that's just gonna be like the highlight, so let me go ahead and think about like the look of it. Now you can be pretty sketchy, but I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna like fill it up with some tones. So I'm just gonna be pretty light about it, like, and sketchy. Like I'm not trying to do like the straightest lines ever, and just kind of go like this. And notice that if you are more like kind of uniform about it, then it won't look like texture, and it'll look like shading rather than the texture on the face. So yeah, I'm gonna go with in the same direction and across like the whole form, but I'm gonna leave that where I mapped out like the highlight. So same with this. I'm just gonna go in the same direction. And that's why I've started to say that in these videos, is just to go in like kind of the same direction, because it's a little tricky. But this helps if you just kind of go in like that same direction. And then if you do that, then like according to that picture, which I'll still have up here, you can start to do like a gradation. So, and that's like the form on the face. So for example, like the forehead's gonna turn. So instead of cross hatching, I'm just gonna go in the same direction. And that's just kind of like it's kind of like a trick before you start to commit to it. Because as soon as you start to cross hatch, it's saying something, like it's doing something. It's part of it is the value, part of it is the texture. And so it's probably simpler to kind of just do this, because what's happening is you're describing edges, values, and forms. That's a lot of stuff. And that's why it's challenging, and that's why it can get tricky. So here, notice that I started to already like cross hatch, because that's like the shadow. And that's okay. And that is just like a language, basically. But that's like a simple way to kind of notice that it can kind of look like skin tone, but it can also look like shading, like shadow. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. So here's the 2020 version, and it can kind of become a character, I think. Yeah, I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep your sketches and keep on sketching.